to ESPN Network. What does ESPN stand for?
That Deshaun Watson is the most based individual on this planet.
You guys gotta lock in.
Hello, and welcome back to Enter. So first, let's look at the case in its overview. Deshaun Watson, quarterback of the Houston Texans, has been playing since 2014. That was Clemson. Never mind. 2017. But first, let's talk about the overview of this case. Deshaun Watson, quarterback for the Houston Texans since 2017, recently signing with the Cleveland Browns and playing for Clemson in his college days. As 26 women came out and filed lawsuits against Deshaun Watson, and over 23 of them were settled.
One of these who played out there said he's a Jane Doe, a massage therapist who had lodged a complaint against him.
Hey, you want to see something cool?
She was contacted in Houston by Los Angeles Hotel to give him a massage. This occurred December 17th, 2020. When she arrived, what the fuck? I wrote this at 1 in the morning.
You could also talk louder.
I am talking loud. One of these who filed a lawsuit against him was a Jane Doe, a massage therapist who Deshaun Watson had hired. This incident occurred on December 17th, 2020. Is that on my copy? According to the article, I can't speak up. So, according to the article, new sexual misconduct lawsuit. What the fuck? That's not what I wrote.
Brother in Christ, you suck all the.
According to the article, she states that he attempted to solicit sexually related acts, including intercourse.
Yummy. So, you may be asking, what was the NFL's response to these allegations and these lawsuits filed against Watson? Well, Deshaun Watson was suspended for only 11 games. To put into perspective, Calvin Ridley, wide receiver of the Falcons at the time, was suspended for an entire season for gambling $1,500, which is all 17 games. Watson would later receive a contract from the Cleveland Browns, a team that needed a quarterback, for $230 million for 5 years. This kind of pay is unprecedented for a predator like Watson.
And it easily covered the $5 million that he was going to be forced to pay.
The leading ideas and theories behind why Watson was suspended for so little in a court case such as this is due to the fact that he has a lot of money. Because he is a professional athlete, a quarterback that gets paid some of the most money in the National Football League. Someone like that can have a lot of power just with that money. Pay different judges and courts, under the table possibly. But most importantly, we can't overlook that all of these accusations came against women with Deshaun Watson. He wasn't messing around with any dudes.
Huh?
These were women that get paid less and earn less and frankly have less power in a man-controlled government. Little bit of the feminism here. Deshaun Watson, he's a dude. And he has power. Because he's rich and because he's a dude.
Another thing to add on top of that, he's an incredibly valuable player to the NFL. Even with these cases, it still brings more attention to the NFL, which increases their revenue. So it's not too far to put it that the NFL is probably helping him. He's an incredibly valuable player. He's good at what he does. But with these actions that he's recently partaken in, is bringing him into a bad light. But the NFL, being a multi-million dare I say, billion-dollar industry is easily able to cover for. That's just my thoughts.
That is very true. The quarterback position, probably the most important position on the field. And when you have talent like his, the NFL will pay no matter who it is. Next, let's talk about how the media had its hands on this case, much like Watson. LeBron James right here tweeted out, following another lawsuit being filed against Deshaun Watson, said, "Yes, sir, D. Watson, another one, that boy getting his rhythm back." This kind of insensitive tweet from such an influential basketball player, his take on this case, absolute atrocious from such an iconic face in the sports world.
One of the other viewpoints on this is that he should not be dealing with this behavior. It is absolutely atrocious. No man should ever be able to have this many allegations of him and not have any criminal charges pressed. His wealth and status have kept him way too okay with this situation. He should be in bars. With the mental anguish and the life-changing trauma he has caused to multiple women, this is just atrocious. They should have done something about this. They should have. But no, here he is, still playing, still active, still famous, still rich, and the government, or just the law in general, has done nothing about it.
At least we can all agree on one thing. These acts that Deshaun Watson have committed have mostly came because of his Marxist lead on this country. You're supposed to disagree, fuck you.
Well, actually, I think it's more about the feminist viewpoint on this. But we can agree to disagree, right?
No, I don't think it's mostly about the feminists. Sure, it has its lead in this case, but Deshaun Watson is a very powerful, very rich man, and all that money, when money comes power.
With great power comes great big booty.
Over 20 women. Yeah, but guess what? These are middle class to or lower class working women that frankly can't pay much, but Deshaun Watson, he's in that higher class with all of his money and all of his fame being a football player.
This can happen to any woman in that position. It doesn't matter the social or the wealth status of them. This could have happened, and it probably is still happening with Deshaun Watson.
You know, I think you're just insane. That's what I think.
I think you're
Thank you for watching ESPN. Tune in next week when we talk about Tom Brady retiring, but not really. Until next time. Hey, so just a future voiceover here from Ethan. Something we didn't have in the broadcast room is a few bits of information following the signing with the Cleveland Browns for Deshaun Watson. So even though he did get paid that $230 million contract for 5 years, they did end up restructuring his contract to remove over $35 million of that contract. He's still getting paid a absurd amount of money for the criminal he is, but they did remove some of it. And also another piece of information is that more than 30 accusations and lawsuits were actually made against Deshaun Watson in court, and 30 of them were made, but there was a lot more than we initially thought, and it was with his time with the Texans, and then after he signed with the Browns, even more came out, and it turns out there was well over 30 cases trying to be solved. And although most of them did get solved, who knows how many of them should have been solved and, could have actually taken down Watson fairly. But these are just pieces of information that we had, and that will do it from the scuffed ESPN network.